So this video is about putting together a travel rig for shooting photo and video in extreme places. Recently I put this together to shoot Planet Iceland in Iceland. I wanted to be able to do photo all the way to 4K video in a really lightweight and efficient package that I could carry onto a plane, in and out of the back of a car easily, and that really had no parts that were extraneous. So I'm going to walk through all the different components now, cameras, accessories, and storage. And if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments and I'll address them there. So we'll start with the cameras because that's what people care about. I brought two. I brought the Canon 1DC, which is this, and the Canon C100, which is filming me now. The reason I brought both was that they each have their strengths. The 1DC is basically the 1DX, but with the ability to shoot 4K video internally, which is absolutely ridiculous in something this size. On the photo side, this is basically the best photo camera I've ever used. I'm not a huge fan of mirrorless, so you can go crazy about the Sonys and everything if you want to. Personally, I just don't like the image as much. I love the image out of this camera, and so on the photo side, this really doesn't get better than this for me. The great thing though is that this also shoots 4K video. So if you are running around and you're on top of some mountain and you need to shoot video, you can just easily switch over. It's got different modes, so I have that set. It's shooting it in motion JPEG, which is a ridiculous codec. It's really huge and inefficient, but it does grade really well. Shots like this and this were both shot in motion JPEG from this camera. You can see that they graded really well. They're scaled down to the 1080 timeline from 4K. A couple caveats with this camera. One, it shoots onto these CF cards, basically the highest quality CF cards that I've ever seen or heard of, 128 gigabyte Lexar Professional 1066X. Very expensive and very big, so if you lose them, it can be very problematic. But unfortunately, that's just what you need. The other thing is it doesn't have a waveform, it doesn't have focus peaking, it doesn't have built-in ND filters. It's really tough to nail exposure and focus with this when you are doing video. So it's worth keeping that in mind, and why I brought the C100. The C100 is an incredible camera for a couple reasons. One, it's got autofocus, and autofocus is one of those things that we've just kind of gotten used to not having with professional video cameras, but when you have it, it's incredible, especially in an environment like Iceland when you're shooting stuff very quickly, kind of in a documentary style. I got shots like this where I'm easily able to rack in and out of focus. Would never have been able to do this manually. And having the autofocus is one, just really, I guess, comforting knowing you're always nailing your focus, but you can also get a little bit more creative with your shots. C100 also has built-in ND filters, which is absolutely amazing in terms of getting that shallow depth of field outside in bright sunlight. And it's got a waveform, and I rely on a waveform to get exposure outside. When you're shooting log mode at the native ISO of both these cameras, which in the case of the 1DC is 400, 850 on the C100, it can be hard to get exposure. You don't want to blow out your highlights, you don't want to crush your blacks, you never know which way to go. It's really annoying. With the waveform, you just know where you're shooting, and there's a lot of good information out there about shooting properly with the waveform, where you want your middle gray to be. There's a good Canon white paper on it. I recommend reading it. So the smallest way I could find to get a waveform off of your camera is this iCan D5. It takes the Canon battery, which is huge, one less point of failure to bring along with you. The monitor itself kind of sucks, I think. Outside, you still can't see it, but you can see the waveform, which is really all that matters. You know you're gonna get your exposure, and that's huge when you're out in the field. So that's the cameras. As far as lenses, I basically tried to go everywhere from 16mm all the way up to 200. So this is the 16-35 2.8, incredible wide angle lens, incredible lens for landscape photography especially. It's also pretty good if you are in a semi-low light scenario. F2.8, it's not that bad. It's relatively fast. It's a really good versatile lens for both cameras because in both cases you are going to have a cropped image. The C100 is Super 35, so that's worth keeping in mind. The 70-200 2.8, this is one of the sharpest, best lenses I've ever used. It's amazing. At least getting video with this lens was really easy to do in a lightweight manner. I also brought the Canon 24-70. The reason I have this is because it's a good all-around lens. If you don't know what you're going to encounter when you're out there, it's a pretty good wide range of focal lengths. It's f4. You know, nothing crazy. It's got an image stabilizer, which I found to be really helpful in both cases because I'm shooting handheld on almost 100% of the time in Iceland. So it's a good lens to have. For all of them, I brought polarizing filters and ND filters. This was largely, on the polarizing side, it was for photos, and then on the ND side, it was for shooting with the 1DC. Hugely annoying to screw these things on in the field. As cool as they are, and they do let you shoot with the 1DC or a camera that doesn't have built-in ND, it lets you shoot video with shallow depth of field. But man, you do not want to be screwing this on in the middle of nowhere when it's raining, and you know, it's really hard to get the shot. That reminds me, another good reason to have the 1DC. This thing is weather sealed, built like a tank. Absolutely ridiculous build quality. Just holding it feels like a brick. So good to know in Iceland or anywhere that's pretty much kind of an extreme environment. All right, on the tripod side of things, obviously needed something super lightweight that could hold both the C100 and the 1DC. I chose the Gitzo Traveler. I'll put the exact model number down below. The reason I like this one is because it's pretty much the lightest weight, highest quality tripod that I could find. It's carbon fiber. And the coolest part about it is, in Iceland at least, you need a really fast setup, fast breakdown, just because you're moving all the time. So I really hate snap fasteners like on Manfrotto or any of the really crappy ones on other tripods. Cool things about the Gitzo one is these are spin twist fasteners. You can do them all at once. So with one motion, I can extend the whole thing, close it down, tighten it, and they're all tightened and it's ready to go back up, which is really awesome when you're in a huge hurry. I've got a Manfrotto head. Again, it's all about size and weight. So this is pretty much the smallest, highest quality head that works both for photo and video. It's a great tripod head. I like it a lot. The only thing is that you need to make sure you have a ton of the little fasteners because these things are super easy to lose. So I usually would bring like 5 or 6 of these just in case, keep one attached to each camera and a bunch of backups. This was a recent addition to the rig. This is the Black Rapid Pro. This is basically a different way to fasten the camera to your body. Instead of using the traditional Canon strap that attaches to here and it sits around your neck, the Black Rapid attaches to a proprietary connection down here on the bottom, just kind of hooks in, and then you wear it around your body like this. And it's kind of like a sling thing going on, which is really cool. I think it does look nice, but it's also just kind of nice to have the camera away from your chest and swinging and hitting you in the stomach. I always hate that. The only thing is that it fastens, as I said, to a proprietary fastener, and I don't know, I find it to be kind of annoying to snap on and off, especially if you're wearing gloves or something like that. It can be a little bit finicky. A small negative for what otherwise is a very helpful device. So as far as digital storage goes, as I said, the 1DC is extremely hungry when it comes to storage, so I had to bring a lot of memory cards, and unfortunately that's just the way it is. It shoots onto the CF card, so did my sound device's recorder for sound, and then the 1DC shoots on the little SD cards, which is kind of nice, and I only had to use one for that, which was awesome because the codec is so compressed. Man, the codec sucks. Like a shot like this, you can see it's been graded. Here's the raw image, and then here's the graded image. And I think it looks okay. If you were to see it full quality though, it's really noisy and it's really hard to get a perfectly clean image that you have a lot of latitude when it comes to grading. I love the C100, I love the autofocus, but man, the codec is terrible. You can use, which I'm using right now, actually the Ninja Blade to get ProRes and a higher, basically a better codec at a higher bitrate, I believe, out of the C100 using HDMI. It's possible, but again, in the field, it's kind of annoying to do. You don't want to have an HDMI cable flying around, and the Ninja, even though it is pretty lightweight, you don't want that flying around either. So when it came to digital storage in terms of the files that I was shooting, I always back up everything at the end of every night. So both the C100 and the 1DC, every night I'd offload all the footage. And to do that, I use the Monster Overdrive 1 terabyte SSD drive. This thing weighs basically as much as an iPhone. It's also basically the size of the bigger iPhone. So really, really small footprint when it comes to affecting the weight and space in your rig. It doesn't require power other than being plugged into your computer, which is huge. And the cable, the Thunderbolt cable, is actually built into the device itself. So in terms of having a really small footprint and being a really easy addition to your rig, this is huge. And it's really fast. SSD, really reliable, and really speedy, Thunderbolt, obviously. They do make a USB 3.0 version, and they do make different increments in size. I like 1 terabyte just because if you're going to do it, you might as well go all the way. And then in terms of offloading the actual memory cards to the Thunderbolt, I really like this Lexar USB 3.0 device. It's got both the CF and the SD cards in here. Connect that to the computer, connect the SSD drive to the computer, move everything from the cameras, which is basically the memory cards here, to the device, to the overdrive, and then back everything up. Nothing goes on the computer. The computer itself is very clean, is meant to be basically just a monitoring device, and everything is backed up on the external hard drives. But I really like that Lexar because it's really lightweight, super easy to use. So Pelican 1520, this thing is a beast, but it's awesome. This case basically houses all the cameras and the lenses that I brought with me. It's awesome because you can customize it however you want. It comes with this pluck foam that you basically pluck away at it and make however you want to set it up. As it is, it's set up to house the 1DC, the C100, and all the lenses I brought. So it's all in there. You can easily get the cameras in and out with the lens on. So in the back of a car, take that into the hotel room, throw it in the back of the trunk. You need to get your camera and the lens attached. You just pull it right out of there. It's super fast. It's a really good way to go if you're traveling by car. And then if you're not, it's a really good way to get all your really important gear safely onto a plane, because you can carry this on. And then in your hotel room, you know, transfer everything to a backpack or whatever else you're using to get from place to place. But, you know, a lot of the time, if you are in a car, this thing is great for easy access and really, really high protection and for valuable items. This is the in-case DSLR Pro bag. This basically stored everything but the cameras and lenses, all the accessories. So everything from memory cards to monitors to, you know, what else? The tripod, these little gizmos, ND filters, everything else. You could put cameras and lenses in here. It's just really soft and it's really heavy on your backpack. And in addition to the Pelican case, you know, I felt like this was better for basically all the accessories. It's configurable internally. You can basically set it up however you want. I've used this solo on some trips going to Japan and the Philippines. This was the only thing I brought. If you only have one camera, it works pretty well, but you have to make sure that the camera is a normal sized or mirrorless DSLR, because it won't fit with a battery pack, or if it's the 1DC or anything like that. Okay, so I think that's pretty much the extent of the rig. Like I said, it's really lightweight, really easy to use, and really easy to pack up. Pretty much boils down to the 2 cameras, the lenses, and then the storage for both. I did also have a kind of like a whole separate costume rig that I was bringing that involved this helmet and some other gear. If you're curious, this helmet's by Biltwell. It's called the Bubble Shield. It was the closest thing I could find to basically a space helmet without actually buying a space helmet. So this is a motorcycle helmet. I personally would never wear this on the road because it looks not very protective in the slightest. But it worked well for the costume, I think, and it looked cool on camera. And yeah, I think that's it. Hopefully we'll try to make more of these. If you liked it, let me know. And if you have any specific questions or ideas for future videos like this, also let me know and I will do it.